Hello, Schmoeville. Well, thanks again for joining us on the Schmoes Know Movies Podcast YouTube channel. Glad for the people who are joining us, fans of the show, or maybe you're just discovering the show now and you want to catch up. There are basically 5 phases to the podcast. The 5th phase is the phase that we're about to get into soon. Where we launch, where the new studio is, that will come. The 4th was in the interim between studios where we were at Drama 3-4. Phase 3 was over at the Toad Hop. Phase 2 was when we had our producer Katie Levine, and then Phase 1 was with our buddy Cheezer, who did a whole handful of episodes with us to just get us started, and that's where we are right now. We're still in Phase 1. We just uploaded Mark Riley's X-Men podcast. That was cool, and it's cool for me to listen to these again because I haven't heard some of them in a while. And this episode was with Brett Erlich. If you're familiar with the You Reviewers Awards, Brett has been on the show basically, I think, every year since we launched it. And Brett was a guy that Mark and I kind of worked together with, but not really at Current TV when we first started doing reviews together way before, the year before the Schmoes were created. So it was cool to get Brett in there. And there was kind of rumors at one point that we had beef with him, and it wasn't true. We put those to rest on this show. We talked about the Rotten Tomatoes show that we were supposed to have, and Brett ultimately got, and how that launched the Schmoes for us not getting it. It was a really fun interview, and he's a really funny guy, a good dude, and it was cool to talk to him. So enjoy this interview. Love for you to comment when you watch it and let us know what you think, because some of these I don't think a lot of you have heard, so it's cool that you get to hear it. All right, guys, enjoy. Okay, guys, so we are back. It is the Schmoes Know podcast, and of course, I am Christian Harloff.
Hey, my name is Mark.
And we could not be doing this each and every week without our good friend, Cheese.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing?
What's
Good
up,
to be
Cheese,
back.
man? Good to see you. All right, we have a very special guest on today. We like to do Schmoes Know Movies. That's what we do. We do the movies here. What better way to have on one of our favorite critics on YouTube, on the internet, to do more of the. It's more like the everyday.
Brought it to the internet.
It's the internet, not just YouTube. It's the internet, and it's a guy that we've known very much. We've known a lot about, and we've actually worked with him in some capacity. He is the co-host of the Rotten Tomatoes Infomania show on Current TV. I'd like to say hello to Brett Erlich.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, man? Now, Brett, we actually worked together somewhat back in the day.
Yes, in a strange capacity. I don't even know if it was together or overlapped.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's all a blur.
You know
at
when you
this
take
point.
philosophy class and they have like those 2 bubbles, like the A bubble and the B bubble, and occasionally they
the
overlap
Venn-
a little bit?
The
Right.
Venn diagram of our lives.
Yeah.
Except though it's like 2 butt cheeks and there was a butthole in the middle. That's where we worked.
Well, this is kind of. I got a couple of emails about this. This is kind of the story of what happened. They asked us how kind of the Schmoes got started and everything. Mark and I started on Current TV as just kind of throwing in like user-generated reviews, and we would just throw in our ideas about pilots and movies and that kind of stuff.
They sent us a flip cam and we'd get drunk and review stuff. I mean, clearly the show's progressed.
A little bit since then,
Leaps
not
and
much.
bounds since then.
Right. So we did this, and we started doing reviews for a little while, and at the same time, Infomania has been on for a while, though.
So I first went to Current TV 5 years ago,
Right.
which is forever ago.
That's a long time
I
ago.
can't believe how long I've been there. That's longer than college.
Right.
Well, for some people.
For some
Yeah.
people.
Unless you're a doctor or me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Speak for myself.
So I went and worked in there, and I worked on a show called now it's called Infomania. Back then it was called like Yahoo Current Buzz.
Really?
I went back. I've worked on 8 shows at Current.
Holy shit.
Most of them are the different permutations of the same show, but we did.
The titles get so much better once they realize that it's got to be short. It's got to be sweet.
Exactly.
Like there's a reason why they no longer call it the World AFL NFL
Just-
Championship
yeah.
game. It's just Super Bowl.
Just call it Brett.
Yeah, that's. I've been pulling for that. I've really been trying to jam that one home, but it has
Not
not
sticking
worked.
yet.
Yeah, and I started off doing like a segment called Viral Video Film School, which just makes fun of like online videos, and that was it. And like, what was it, 06, back in the aughts. And then I just started working on Infomania, and I did different segments on that, and like a campaign update show. But yeah. And then one day they're like, "Here's a show you want to do it?"
Yeah, let's jump into that.
What's the show? What's the show? I'm curious.
Yeah, so here's what happened. And before we get into this, I'll say that Brett was definitely a innocent bystander in all this. And
I said, who are those assholes? Get them the hell off.
I want to host this show.
Current, I want it.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to know the original? Originally on Infomania, there was we just went on YouTube. None of us even chimed in. We went on YouTube, and we just brought together a bunch of like weirdo like a guy named Kip who had a clown mask, and we put together all their reviews of like serious movies. And so it was like an ensemble review of a bunch of different people chiming in, and then we stopped doing that, and then Martini started working with you guys on some kind of video, or on what it was like
it was the current
lowdown.
Current lowdown.
Martini's known as Charlie in our circles.
Yeah, we
'cause
call her
we're
Charlie.
her angels.
That's right.
Oh,
So,
there you go.
but what happened was, from our point of view, I don't know if you know our perspective.
I have no idea.
All right. So our perspective was this. We were going through a contracting for a while as far as like, okay, so look, this Rotten Tomatoes show is going to go down. We met with Rotten Tomatoes a few times. They love you guys. They really like what you guys are doing on the current lowdown. They want you to have your own show. Rotten Tomatoes, here's the pitch. You guys are going to have user-generated reviews. Mark and I wrote like a whole bunch of different ideas and sketches for the show, and they're like, okay, it's going down. It's done. It's going to happen. So we're like, okay, great. Let's see what happens. And then
we had that phone call about like 10 times to the next. Every 3 months, we'd have another phone call. Yeah, it's happening, man.
It's happening. It's going to happen. So then it's like, okay, so now you guys are going to host the show. It's going to be about a month or two, and then we're ready to go, ready to start. Okay, great. So we got a phone call. It's like from somebody, look, we're out. Not us in general yet, but the producers involved, like, we're out. We're not going to be doing this show anymore. You guys should, maybe stick around, see what's going to happen. We're like, okay, that's fine.
Mysteriously, about 6 months before that happened, they stopped paying us for the current reviews. Like, we stopped getting checks.
Well,
really?
but then we said, we were like, well, let's find out what's going to happen, and then we'll talk to the executives at Current and find out. We never got the call, and then there was an announcement that Rotten Tomatoes, and I guess
So you guys didn't know
no, we didn't know
until the announcement.
We didn't know the announcement until
Wow.
Brett Erlich and Ellen Fox had the show. So
I'm willing to blame it on Ellen Fox.
that's fine.
In the capper of all cappers is literally how I found out about it. We were doing a gig in Alaska.
oh, geez.
And
right.
and
Yeah,
we
Max Cook.
and we went on online and we saw that the show that we thought that we might still have a chance of having, we saw that we didn't get it. 2 other people got it, and then I had to go on stage in Eagle Rock, Alaska, and do an hour in front of like 30
wow.
drunks.
But look,
It was a lot of fun.
It makes sense because look, to be honest,
We ran up a sweet bar tab that night.
Ellis, but to be fair, you're no Ellen Fox. You don't look like Ellen Fox.
I think we both have nice breasts, and that's
You
what I
have
said.
fantastic bone structure,
Skin
See?
is
and
amazing.
you're natural. She used to look like a car. Her
Dodge
face
Ram?
looked like a Dodge Ram.
And not a Nissan Juke, like a
No,
really ugly car.
not the premier crossover of our generation, the Nissan Juke.
But so that's how it went down. But look, had it not gone down that way, the Schmoes No brand would have never been born. So it worked out for the best. And Brett, if you haven't seen the Rotten Tomatoes Infomania show, you should watch it because Brett's a really funny guy. He's like, if The Office was going to do a prequel, he'd play John Krasinski.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. So,
God, talking about someone taking someone's job. That guy took my life. He's living it much better.
well,
For those of you at home, I look just like John Krasinski.
How often do you get that?
I get that like at 2 a.m. outside bars.
Really?
Like not like you
wow.
look like John Krasinski, like people
think you
falling out being like, "Come here, Jim." I'm like, "Oh God,
You know,
if only I
welcome-
could exude
yeah.
such like peaceful,
better-
like if only I could come off as someone you want to be both your boyfriend and your brother, like he does." Because that's really his
He is
jam.
really the guy next door. You know,
He's the guy next door.
And that's why this podcast is great because it's literally like the BT. Well, it's like the backup for John Krasinski, the backup for Dane Cook, and the backup for Topher Grace.
There
all
we
doing
go.
a podcast
Oh,
together.
can I have a Jay Moore over here?
You can be Jay
can
Moore.
say Jay
That's
Moore.
right.
I see it.
Well done, Cheezer.
I see it. But yeah, Rotten Tomatoes and Infomania are now like two separate creatures. Like now we just do on-demand reviews for Rotten Tomatoes, just me and Ellen. And so if you have time or Comcast, you can watch us on demand. And then otherwise, you just go to RottenTomatoes.com. It's on there, or you can go to current.com/Rotten Tomatoes. And then or /Infomania, I guess, and it's like, blog format, and one of the things you can click on are like reviews.
Oh, well, we'll post that. We'll post that in the link to. We're going to post this advertisement part of it on YouTube. We'll put the link there. The link will be on Podbean, and make sure you check that out.
Yeah, and in defense of the show, I mean, the way to do a proper review show is to have like a funny guy and a hot chick. Like that's the way. Unfortunately, you're married. Well, Christian's married, and I sweat profusely around women. So
we have hurdles. We have hurdles.
That's a nice way of putting it.
That's right. But okay, so that now we got the elephant out of the room.
There's another elephant. There's I did a character called Buck Smithy, and you guys did something for Funny or Die, which apparently were similar. And someone was like, "Is that true?"
We did a
Mr. Hollywood or something.
Yeah, we did
and someone came up to me and was like, knowing that this whole thing went down ahead of time, we had an idea for a guy who was responsible for every like specific thing wrong with movies in Hollywood. Buck Smithy, like accent coach.
Okay.
And Buck Smithy, sequel producer, and we would just go through like what's wrong with Hollywood. It's like crappy sequels, and then terrible accents. And so I was just a guy, because Alan Smithy is the guy that you attribute your movies to if they suck and you're not proud of them. You put his name on instead. There's even like the Alan Smithy bridge on the on the like Universal Studios tour bus. Anyway, so we've already gone down this road. It's already awkward. We have mutual friends, and they're like, "God, I wish there wasn't so much awkwardness." And then someone's like, "You should check out this thing that you guys did on Funny or Die," and I'm like, "Okay."
More stuff.
More stuff, I guess. I think that I stand by those are two different characters, but someone brought up that there was.
I imagine the same kind of
another
conversation
elephant.
happens at the Justice League initially. They're like, "Wait, I fight crime. What do you?" But then they all realize, "Hey,
we
we're
all
on the same
fight
team."
crime.
Whatever. I mean, look. The bottom line is that this just shows you the difference between men and women, though. Too. No offense, ladies. Like Brett and I walked into like a movie screen. Like, "Hey, man, what's going on? How you doing? Great. Over." Now he's on the podcast. We're talking, and we're going to talk movies.
Yeah.
It's over and done with. Who? There was never anything there. That was the thing.
Yeah.
So
good. I'm glad because it comes up and you're just like, shit. I hope that guy doesn't hate me, and I hope I don't hate that guy. I don't know.
This
what's
is
happening.
why you'll never have a reality show called The Real House Husbands. Because we have a beer, we watch a game, and it's over.
The producers are sitting around. Oh, Brett and Christian are going to kill each other after night one. Like, dude, they're drinking beers by the pool.
Yeah.
He just replaced Ellis with Erlich on his show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ellen Fox and Ellis are doing their own show now on Hollywood Boulevard. All right, so let's get into actually a couple things about Brett. Now, Brett and I also have a similar kind of background too, because you started in you started in an agency, didn't you?
I worked at a talent agency as an assistant. Did you do that?
I worked in Warner Brothers as an assistant in production.
Yeah. Assistant life sucks.
Blows balls.
Oh my God.
I've heard horror stories.
It's terrible. At the agency I worked at, like, to be an assistant was the worst thing because there you're sitting in an island in the center of a room, and around the outside of that island is your boss's office. And you look straight through a glass wall at your boss, but you have like an earphone. And so when he gets or she gets really mad at you, they close the door and stare at you through this thing. But you can hear what they're saying. And I would see people just sitting hunched over their desks, staring at their boss staring back at them, and just this assistant, this like 22-year-old kid just shriveling as they say, "You piece of shit." It's horrible.
That's like the perks of being an agent, unfortunately. What a sick
absolutely.
perk. What a sick perk. It's
You have a pillow that you can yell at.
I can as long as I get to that promotion, I can destroy the next 3 people that work for me. That's okay. Then just give me the extra $200-$300 a week.
They would sit. Some agents would come and they had one of those like stress balls that you work on and a golf club, and there's an island of assistants, and they would just rear back and hit this stress ball into the island of assistants. That's the kind of shit I couldn't deal with it. My old boss at one point, who I'm friends with now, but my old boss at one point had thrown a water bottle in my general direction. And I was just like, and he says he wasn't throwing it at me, and we still kind of laugh about it to this day. But I was just like, no. I'm like, no, this isn't for me. I can't. I'm not having things thrown at me. I'm like, this is not swimming with the sharks. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm good. But it's like, but did you work in the talent department or in lit?
I worked in lit.
Okay.
Well, I started off the first job I had my previous jobs in life were as camp counselor, really, and then in college I was a Jack in the Box mystery guest, which means like I was a secret shopper at Jack in the Box.
That's awesome.
which
That is.
You just became Ellis's favorite celebrity.
Yeah, I'd like to hear stories about that.
really,
Yeah.
you know what what they do is they bring you in, and your job is to make sure that Jack in the Box is up to the standard that Jack
Yeah.
would like to hold them to.
Which I do that in my spare time. I have a clipboard in my car and everything.
Right.
So they would bring you into this training room in Oakland, because I was in NorCal. They bring us into Oakland, and you would see the other people that do the job. And the other people are like, you know, there's like a 21-year-old kid, like who was like trying to, you know,
Kid that
get
quit
through
the agency
college.
after
Kid
he
that
was-
quit the agency. that same guy is like, I just need to eat. And then there were Jabba's the Hutt about the table. Just huge men you could hear breathing.
Yeah, because the goal is they want you to blend in, so Jack in the Box doesn't get wise to the fact that there is a secret agent ordering a number 3 from them. These are like fat Navy SEAls. They go in and nobody knows it's them.
Yeah. You feel like a spy, and exactly
It's kinda cool.
because you have to sit in for there's. If you want to know the details, there's drive-through investigations, and then there's in-restaurant investigations, and you need the fat guy to sit there. But this guy was breathing, and I'm certain this man's dead now.
Yeah.
I'm certain he's dead. And they would just sit there, and they bring down. There's a guy named Ator who would come in, and he would throw down in the middle of the table all the different foods, and be like, "Listen, I started cleaning the grounds inside this Jack in the Box, and now I run the mystery guests." And he would be like, "Listen, we look at this. This is the taco. The bottom of the taco is supposed to be really, really soggy. Don't be mad at it for being soggy. This is recipe. We try to make it not soggy. People hate it not soggy. That is recipe. You tell us if it's good or bad, but according to recipe. Like if you tell me you have the jalapeno poppers and you eat the jalapeno poppers and you don't like how spicy they are, sorry, it's a jalapeno popper. That is recipe."
It's like the Inigo Montoya of Jack in the
Exactly.
Box.
Yeah, that's actually how the early meetings for Hans Gruber's team sounded before they took over Nakatomi.
But yeah, that was what I did, and then you'd have to like sit in the parking lot, and later you have to fill out a form that says like, "I found the tomatoes pert and the lettuce quite crispy."
Oh, that's great.
It's amazing how much prep is involved in Jack in the Box to where you wouldn't catch some homeless people dead in those restaurants
I'm
sometimes.
vaguely certain that my field operative like overseer guy's name was John Mayer.
Well, see, I would have I'd come up with a cool code name for myself, like, "This is Mayor McCheese reporting."
Yeah, exactly.
Grimace, are you at the drive-thru?
We're Jack in the Box. We have different mascots. Not
So-
today.
So you work at Jack in the Box, and as lucrative as a career as that was.
Yeah, now I'm working in an agency, and like you have, you know, millions of dollars, you know, in deals coming through, and you can't mess it up, and your boss would yell at you.
Did you start working there in hopes that one day you would be able to be on camera town, or was it just a job that you had? You wanted to get in the industry any way you could?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
To get in, I knew that I wanted to do it. I wasn't very, you know, I in college I didn't really declare my major until like the day before
Were
the
you
deadline to
communications
be.
like I was? Because that's what I did.
I was poli sci.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I have a bachelor's of arts degree in a science.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea for the type of science I studied, I get an arts degree for it. But yeah, that was it, and yeah, that's me.
Well, how does that go from? All right, so you went from going back, I guess from because we talked about the agency, and then how do you go from just saying screw this, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm gonna go because you obviously got involved in lit. A lot of people get involved in a lit element because they love movies.
Yeah, I love movies. I was actually in TV. I love movies. I love I had my handful of films. Like I've got my I Love Toxic Waste shirt on from Real Genius. Like
Right.
I have my favorite films, and then I have like my knowledge of what you should know about movies. But I wanted to. I kind of took a job in the first job I could get within the agency just to figure out how it works,
Right.
and I got a TV lit desk that lasted about a month before my boss broke up with me. I believe he said, "Bud, I don't think we're vibing."
Oh, that's awesome.
At the agency, you worked for a month there. Then
I worked for a month at this one desk, and I went back to the mailroom,
okay.
and then I worked in like the games and interactive department, like that later became the new media department.
So see so that's kind of so See, so it was smart. You kind of made your connections there, and kind of from there went.
Yeah.
How do you get on? How do you start doing the talent aspect?
So I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. It felt like, I always knew I was gay. Like, and then someone said, "You're gay," and I was like, "Yes," but instead of gay, it was like wanted to be on television.
Right.
It was like I didn't let myself know. I was like, and then there was this one Christmas party where the assistants put on like a talent thing, and they were like, "Brett, you want to do this?" I'm like, "Sure." And then they wrote this thing. I didn't think it was funny, and I just kind of wrote different stuff, and then performed it for the agents. And afterwards, like one of the agents, like the head of the TV department's like, "Dude, you're funny. Stop working here." And like, one of the agents, like Jack Black's agent. So I'm like, "Oh fuck, I made it." Clearly, she calls me down and is like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And I was like, "I don't know." She's like, "If you could really say what you want to do," and there I'm just like things I haven't let myself say. I'm like, I want to be on television. And afterwards, she was like, "Well, you should go. I'm going to pay for you to go to Upright Citizens Brigade and like take a class." And I was like, "Oh, you don't have to do that." She's like, "I'm doing it." And then I went to the bathroom and I cried. I like broke down. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so what I want to do." I'm such a pussy.
Right, that's like
that probably felt amazing.
But that's what it was.
But it
It's
is
so
though.
weird.
It's like a hand because especially it's like that story though. You get your balls kicked in, and from watching these people, shrivel down from people yelling behind glass,
Ducking
and then
golf
you're like,
balls.
yeah, I guess I'll read your unfunny shit and I'll just tweak it, and then you're like killing it up there, and you're like that alone feels good, and then someone goes, "Yeah, by the way, I'm going to help you follow your dream."
But then someone else walks in on him on the bathroom crying. They're like, "Dude, it wasn't that bad. I thought it went really well."
Or she walks in and goes, "Psych."
That's all that was going on in my head. Was like, God, I hope no one walks in here. But yeah, I did that. And then with the current TV thing, I just had a friend from college that I had done a sketch show with, and he was like, later on, he was like I started doing sketch shows, and he was like, "Do you want to come submit a writer's packet to current TV?" And so I did, and then they hired me off that.
That's awesome. Yeah, because that's been like as where the three of us here, that's our Comedy Store would be like our base. Current TV has been like your base.
It has. It's very weird, but I've done this viral video film school thing. I just did my 100th.
Wow.
I've shot my 100th one of those.
It's weird when you get up into those numbers, because if you look at our channel, we have 270 videos, and to think about that, it's like, why don't I have a rocking chair? Why aren't I yelling at skateboarders to get off my front porch?
Right. Well, that's alone. So, as far as movies and the 11 movies, we were talking about that before too.
Yeah.
So, all jokes aside about what we were talking about with us, when you did hear about getting that gig, as far as working with Rotten Tomatoes and working in movies, that'd be pretty exciting.
I think what was natural is I was like, I know a lot about movies, but I was terrified I didn't know enough about movies.
Right.
That whole feeling. It's like, whatever you do, like if you're doing stand up and until you are a certified professional, you're like, they're gonna find out I'm a fraud, So that was what it.
Professionals feel that way too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I feel
It's
like that just about every night.
Yeah.
But we went in and we started brainstorming ideas, and it's like, oh my god, I think we do know a lot about films, and we brought in more people, and kind of it grew from that, and now I look down. The last 2 years looking at the top 150 films at the box office, to think I've seen most of those.
It's crazy.
Makes you feel insane.
It's one of those things. I remember years ago before we did this, and we would walk around Blockbuster, and I'd be like, "Oh, I need to see that. I need to see that." Everything that comes on, I've seen. I mean, I saw Sanctum.
Yeah.
No one should have seen Sanctum.
I just saw Priest and The Beaver.
Beaver was the one.
I was the Beaver. I never saw the
that's a
Beaver.
good. Well, that's a good transition then too, because I want to get into again. We've all been talking movies. We've seen everything. It's 2011, and we are going to do. It literally is like back. Were you an old school wrestling fan?
Yes.
All right, so this is basically if the WWF and WCW would have come together years ago. So now we are.
Can I be in the Wolf Pack?
Sure, you can. So we're all together. Kevin Nash is sitting beside me, and we are going to be talking about our favorite movies of 2011 thus far, and our worst movies of the year thus far. And I'm going to go ahead and say, starting off with the worst, I'm going to go ahead and say that Sanctum for me is the biggest pile of turds out there so far this year.
I would have to go Sanctum too, because First of all, you kind of sprung this on me. I can't.
You don't check our Facebook page?
I can't really. I don't know what Facebook is. I'm
I
still
apologize.
on Prodigy. I think that I can't imagine that I've seen a movie in 2011 that is worse than Sanctum. But as far as disappointment goes, I would probably have to say The Hangover 2, as much as I hate to do it.
That's the worst movie of the year? I mean,
not as the worst movie of the year.
Disappointment.
As most disappointing.
Okay,
'Cause I was really excited to go in there and have a good laugh in a packed theater.
Okay.
And I was trying to. It's like seeing a comic that you know is really good, and so you're going to give them the 5-minute break up front.
Yep.
And after that, it's like this new material ain't working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember thinking like, The Hangover 1 worked because I watched it and I was like, I can't believe these guys are doing this. It just gets weirder and weirder. Right. And then I'm watching Hangover 2 and it's like, I can totally believe they're doing this because I've seen them do this before. And it also has like the killer, the thing I hate the most, which is in the script of the sequel, which is pretty much a carbon copy, it looks like they just did a translation. They translated it to Thailand. They did it in Thai this time. It's just like the one thing is like they kept saying like, "Oh, I can't believe we did this again."
Right.
And if you can't believe we did this again, how do you think the audience is going to believe you guys did this again?
Exactly. And the thing though too, even though the movie hits the same beats, beat for beat, mostly the difference was I would have been okay with that because if a movie starts out with the first 15 minutes and you're watching, you're like, okay, this is the same movie, but the tone is still kind of light and fun. It goes into a mean-spirited place, and it goes into a tone that's totally unbelievable. In the first movie, like even though these guys, like you said, Brett, like even though these guys were doing this stuff, you believe that you're like, oh, I can't believe it's happening, but I believe that it could happen. Like even the most unbelievable part was in the first one was Ken.
Jong.
Yeah, when he jumps out of the back, it was like a Mad TV sketch, but it was brief, so I'm like, okay, I don't mind it. The whole entire tone of part 2 is like that, and I don't believe that anything can happen. Zach Galifianakis is way more mean-spirited in the second one, and it's just the jokes just...
It really is like, people like the retard line in Hangover 1,
Right.
like which was a throwaway line.
Right.
They do that same joke like 6 different times, 10 different times in Hangover 2.
A gay or
Like Thailand, like
Right.
they do that. I mean, yeah, it's they keep instead of finding new jokes to replace the jokes that they had before, they just do the same jokes with different punchlines, same setup, different punchline.
But
Do you have a movie in 2011 that's really bugged you? That really
bugged you?
One thing though on Hangover 2 though, because the joke is on us because they're going to be a third one. They're working on the script right now.
And I'll go see it. I hope it's funny.
I do too.
Those
but
guys are funny.
that's
If
the thing.
I'll give them that they had a bad day, but just you got to learn from your mistakes.
It made
I'll see the
so
third one if you learn from your mistakes.
much money.
It made-
that thing
yeah.
needed. I mean, it's the highest. It's like the second biggest rated R movie of all time, next to The Matrix.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
It let's see. I have like Box Office Mojo. Is that like cheating on
No,
Rotten
no.
Tomatoes?
Totally. I
don't
mean,
know.
we have.
Yeah, in what is it? 2 weeks, $164 million.
Jesus.
Wow.
I feel like Brett's got his iPad. Harloff has his iMac,
we're
and I have
ta-
like a Game Boy.
Yeah,
I
I
have nothing to
this.
reference.
I won this in a raffle.
Really?
Yeah, and I won this. I was in Vegas and I won this, so I'm very happy.
And then did you go to Thailand and try to win something? And it
Yep.
just didn't work out at all?
It did not work out at all.
The movie that surprised you this year.
Movie that surprised me in how bad it was.
Yeah, we'll do bad.
Well,
first.
the movie that bothered me the most was Water for Elephants. That
Yeah.
Did we saw that at the same time?
We ran into each other afterwards. So my wife and I.
Oh, she got mad at us.
I said it today. I told her after this interaction that we had. I said, our guest today is Brett Erlich. Is that the guy I met at Water for Elephants? She's like, I was like, you're just pissed off because he didn't like it. Yeah, I know. And it was,
I liked Water for
wife.
Elephants.
I did not.
I
like
enjoyed it.
I thought that was one of the worst films I've ever seen.
But
Wow.
Exactly. Well, we had a conversation about it afterwards, and the reason why we were pretty much on the same page was that
I come from a family of 1920s carnies. I should point that out.
Fair enough.
the story was good.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
story was really good.
Story, and the book I didn't read, but you can tell that there's something there. And Christoph Waltz was fantastic. I think we're both in the same.
Yeah.
I did not agree
No?
with you.
You think Christoph Waltz was good?
I am a Christoph Waltz fan, and someone had said like he's been doing that character forever in Germany,
Yeah.
and now he's bringing it here. I just think the director just ruined everything and made me not like Christoph Waltz. I like Christoph
Really?
Waltz typically, but he did.
He was my saving grace in that movie because Pattinson was unwatchable.
Yeah.
He was unwatchable.
He
I
has,
really
like,
didn't find him unwatchable.
He had
Now, did him and
he
Reese
smiled like an
Witherspoon-
asshole the whole movie. All he was
Reese
doing is
Witherspoon did not exactly have the chemistry.
No,
they
there's
weren't
none.
exactly the high school sweethearts.
It makes her look like an idiot for liking that guy.
time,
That's the worst. It's like Reese Witherspoon. Like I fancy her a discerning young lady, or she could probably come up with a good guy to fall in love with. But the two men she's fallen in love with, like Waltz, he never really put forward that what is supposed to be in the book, which is a guy that's just so charismatic and you never know what he's gonna do. He's like an elephant, like you don't know if the elephant is, I kept waiting in the movie for the elephant to like stampede somebody and just knock him over. The thing about working with elephants in the circus is like those get really pissed off and they can kill in a moment's notice. And that was supposed to be Waltz, and he never really like accomplished that. And then Pattinson is like a robot with 4 buttons, and one is like smolder, and the other's like meek fake smile, and the other is just Twilight face, and then. Finally, it's like, I don't know, and it's just the fourth one is like a Smolder 2.
Yeah, it's the upgrade.
The fourth one is Smolder with the glitter on him.
Exactly,
it's the new app. There is one point where he walks into the train and he's doing Twilight face. He's
Absolutely, most of the film he's doing one of his Twilight faces.
And it's just like it just was disappointing. I disliked the movie. I don't think I disliked it as much as you did because Waltz for me when I saw him was getting me through it, but the two of them, I mean, they you hear it, they were acting. They were not. You had no belief that these two liked each other at all. It's like you guys are supposed to be in love. We are, it's like that.
There were the same like music cues over and over again, very generic. Like there was never any ambiguity as to what you as an audience member should think about this scene. Right. It was like hit you over the head with like, okay, sad strings, like intense, like thoughtful strings, and that's it. And then there was like, some kind of timpani filler, and it's like, oh God, I hate when a movie doesn't let you like figure out what you're supposed to think of it.
So you thought like the guys from Barnum and Bailey Circus were directing it. Okay, here's where we're gonna make it feel emotion.
Right? I can't. I mean, that reminds me of like what the 4-camera sitcoms do. It's like they put they throw in that laughter. Now you're supposed to think this is funny. Yeah. So I get that, but the funny.
I Boys in Outer Space may not have actually been as funny.
I agree.
Yeah, I have to. Was telling me.
Yeah, or Leprechaun in the Hood. But I would say that one of the things that we were thinking about, if there was an actor replacing Pattinson, it would have made the movie a little bit more enjoyable. And I had actually, even before I saw this movie recently, I suggested James McAvoy.
Yeah, I was hoping you would just say James McAvoy
because McAvoy would have done such a great. He brings you see X-Men first class, and you see what he brings to the character of Xavier. You could see in his eyes when you can as crazy as Mel Gibson is. If you see that scene in Braveheart when he finds out he's betrayed by Robert the Bruce, he doesn't say a fucking thing. You see it in his eyes that he's been betrayed.
He did leave a nasty voicemail later that day.
Yeah, that's fine though.
What's the matter, Bruce?
Yeah. So I mean and it's blank with Pattinson. It's blank, and with McAvoy you don't get that. So, but I see that. Mark, what was your most disappointing movie? Was it Hangover?
Yeah.
All right, for me, I mean, I don't know. I'd probably go ahead and say Hangover was pretty damn disappointing for me because I especially after seeing. Then I guess we go to the surprising then, because the most surprising movie for me of the year was Bridesmaids, because I was expecting just a total chick flick. Did you not like this movie?
I thought it was very funny.
I did too.
I thought Kristen Wiig is like super talented, and there's there's like I guess like plaque in the system of a lot of people. She just can cut right through, it's very easy for her. Everything looks so easy for her.
Yes, but I find her so much more likable and better as an actress in film than on Saturday Night Live, because they're overusing her. She's becoming Molly Shannon on Saturday Night Live, but it's
not a good thing.
No, but in
I've
film,
seen SNL twice in like 5 years, but I've actually enjoyed her on the show from what I've seen. But it's a very limited sample.
You can tell she wants out, and this should prove it, because she was great in this, but she was great in Paul.
She's great in Paul. So here's my thought on Bridesmaids. Is that she's great in Paul. She's great in Knocked Up. She's great as that sketch actor that comes in and plays a bit part and nails it.
Right.
And she brought that to Bridesmaids, where she played 1,000 bit parts. And whereas, I hate to say, it's weird. It's the difference for me between Jesse Eisenberg and Michael Cera, right?
Right.
Jesse Eisenberg is a much better actor than Michael Cera. Michael Cera is infinitely funnier than Jesse Eisenberg.
Right.
I've never laughed at that faux neurotic. I guess he's genuinely neurotic, but that impression of Woody Allen he's been doing since Squid and the Whale. Like I've never laughed at it. I'm just like, okay, I get it. You don't, you're hotter than Woody Allen. You can't write off all these like I got to use my personality.
You didn't think he was funny in Zombieland?
What was that?
Zombieland?
No, I didn't
Okay.
laugh at Zombieland because the whole time I'm like, I'd rather watch Youth and Revolt and watch Michael Cera. The difference is like there is an emotional core to a character that Jesse Eisenberg understands better than Michael Cera. And so like Adventureland in Zombieland 2, there's like a scene in each movie where it's like, wow, you're a really good actor. And so I go away, it goes to the last scene, and finally in the last scene I start to like this guy. And I walk away liking this guy because he understood his character. But like Bridesmaids, it's the difference between like Meg Ryan in her prime and Kristen Wiig. Meg Ryan is not as funny as Kristen Wiig.
Right.
But at the end of this movie, I find that if Bridesmaids is ever on TV, like I'm gonna watch the first 2/3. And I'm gonna turn it off because I don't find a character arc. I don't know what Kristen Wiig is like by the end of the movie, so it doesn't work as a movie at all for me. But like as a series of sketches, like most of those are really, really funny.
I liked her performance in that because it felt so many, like she had so many more emotional layers than a Meg Ryan would. Like Meg Ryan's great in romantic comedies, but like Kristen Wiig, you could tell she had that string of crazy that we've all seen at a bar when you're talking to a girl and you're like, I need to get the hell out of here right now. And so it was somebody trying to control it. She knew she had it. She had that like streak in her, but she didn't want it there. It was really cool to watch her wrestle with that.
Yeah,
so I thought it was
thought
a very real portrayal.
I thought she was like kind of ruined by the script because there's like 5 scenes toward the end of that movie that don't do anything. There's like one where she like goes to see the cop because she needs to see the cop because they need to like advance the relationship like a little bit.
Right.
And then like, but she can't advance it the whole way, so she has to leave. So this whole scene just happened for no reason.
It could have been wrapped up a little neater. It felt maybe 20 minutes too long.
Let's not forget that Apatow had
Exactly.
So we're lucky it wasn't 4 hours and 26 minutes.
Did you see those interviews with Kristen Wiig where she's like, I hope these things Chet added were gonna work.
Oh, really? No.
Like we weren't exactly gonna poop everywhere, but
that scene to me could have been a disaster, and it was actually one of the funnier scenes in the movie because that's what I liked about it. As far as like the way they approach the comedy, is a lot of these comedies decide they want to go super over the top, like the Fairley Brothers type stuff, and you again, like, would you really see a woman run out the street in a bride's outfit and shit in the street? No, but the fact that it happened, in the way that it happened, I bought it. Right,
yeah.
Right. And I thought
Apatow like tests the shit out of his movies, right? That's one thing that I've heard from people that worked on like in his production company is like, yeah, we do 4 versions of it. He shoots hours and hours and miles of footage and finally whittles it down through testing to like what is going to work. So he knew theoretically, if what's past his prologue, like he knew that scene was going to work,
right?
And they shot 3 versions of it. As you can see in the trailer, there's one where she doesn't poop.
Yeah.
See, but that's actually what I like too about that trailer too. Is a lot of the times, a lot of that trailer, the funny stuff that was in the trailer, wasn't in the movie.
Yeah, I love when they do that.
It's really smart because you don't give everything away.
And I had no idea I forget her name, how good the big girl was. I had no idea how good she was going to be.
I thought when I saw that, and that's why I say it was surprising to me because when I saw that trailer, I'm like, oh, this is just going to be some shtick. Big character that is just going to bomb everywhere, and she was by far the funniest thing in the film.
You brought up the Fairley Brothers too, and I'll say that was another really disappointing movie. Was Hall Pass?
Yeah,
because I thought Hall Pass could be really, really funny. It was a great. It was a funny concept, and Sudeikis and Owen Wilson both. I think that they would have been great, and the movie just
Sudeikis was just creepy in that movie. He's
just
like a little over the top,
and he's become one of my like go-to like really. I thought him and Charlie Day knocked the Going the Distance movie. They were so good in that movie.
That's the first time I've liked Jason Sudeikis. Like when I watch Jason Sudeikis, I go, I know you're a great writer. I can tell by the way you're doing this, but you have that writer's thing where you're kind of pushing a little too hard when you perform, like this is a funny idea and you don't seem as relaxed. But in that movie, that was the first time that I was like, man, and
he
Charlie Day,
like a
of
normal
course, I love
dude.
him.
Yeah, right. The two of them just having the back and forth banter, and I'm hoping that wasn't a one-trick pony because he hasn't been funny in something since then.
And they're both going to be in Horrible Bosses, right?
That looks all right, though. I'm hoping.
Anytime I see a comedy now, I get. Maybe I'm just a comedy dick now, but anytime I see that, or I saw the Jason Bateman Ryan Reynolds Switch movie. Yeah. Saw a trailer for that the other day, and I'm just like, I always hope because there's nothing like being in a packed theater when the movie is making the whole theater laugh every 10 seconds. It's such a fun feeling. So I want them all to be good. I don't have a lot of faith, though.
Yeah, Horrible Bosses have been bouncing around since the time when other movies like that have been made. Like, premise, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
film.
Yeah.
When I see
That's
something
always
like
a
that, I
disaster.
hope for the best, but it's like watching the trailer for the Green Lantern. I want it to be good, but every time I see it, I get a little more pessimistic.
I will say, keeping in the surprising movies. By the way, Fast Five.
Yeah.
Now, Fast Five to me, the first 4 movies, I am like, oh, who cares? Who cares? And then I saw this movie ready to destroy it. I had all my thoughts like ready for the review, just to start crushing it, and I could not do that to this film. Mark and I said in our review, you'll see better acting in porn film, but who cares? Because the movie is so much fun, and I loved the direction they went with it. That it was a heist film now, and it's not just about the races. I love that.
That was the only thing that bothered me about Fast Five was that there wasn't that race scene. There's a scene in the middle of Fast Five, and if I'm spoiling Fast Five, then I apologize. But there's a scene in the middle of that movie where they show up to go like they literally need a car. They're like, we need a fast car, so we're gonna go to the street race and we're gonna race for papers and win the fastest car in Rio. And then they don't show the race.
I like that, but that lets you know that's not this movie. That's
should
not
have
this
been
movie.
in the movie.
It's a part of their tool. It's their skill now. That's what they do. They're zipping around the freaking.
No, they tried to film the scene and they ran over a monkey or something,
No.
and something
Yeah.
bad happened, so they couldn't use the footage.
I was sitting in the back of the theater for that. I don't remember that scene. I looking down, you get distracted because everyone in the theater like looks to their left to their friend, looks to the right, like, what happened to the race scene that was supposed to be here? Just a lot of moments, but it was good.
In
The
his
Rock.
defense, that's what you thought you were paying for, but you actually ended up getting like white trash Ocean's 11, which is awesome.
And that to me was where they succeeded, because everyone's expecting what you gave them in the last 4 movies, and you don't. Yet people love it. You win.
Yeah, it was great. Just seeing The Rock and Vin
Diesel.
Diesel go up to each other, go toe to toe, and like, are they gonna kiss?
And then they brawl like African cats.
Yeah,
So
it was as good as a 2 action star thing as you're going to see. It was like Universal Soldier or something, where you just had these 2 really famous action stars go at it. Was Universal Soldier even good? Does anybody remember if it was actually a good movie?
I mean, if you watched it tomorrow, it wouldn't be. But if you go back and
What if I watch it today as soon as I'm done with this podcast?
I don't know.
Get
If you
it
go
under
back
the
and
wire.
quantum leap into your 13-year-old self, you'll probably love it.
Yeah.
All right, what about as far as favorite animation movie of the year so far?
That's a random category, Christian Harloff.
That's what we're doing. We're just 3 guys watching movies.
Did the Owl movie
4,
come
sorry.
out this year?
No, the Owl movie did not.
I didn't see that. Was that good?
I loved it.
It's
God.
people have mixed feelings
it's
on
a
it.
fun kids movie, but
I really
Fox,
like
I
it.
think,
Ellis
lucked out.
loves it.
The animation is really cool and the story's simple, but it's fun. It's effective. It came on HBO yesterday, and I watched it.
Hop does not count in this category.
Okay.
I was gonna
Does
say
not
that's my
count.
favorite
I'm
movie
gonna
of
go
the
with
year.
Rio just because Francisco, a friend
Our
of
buddy
ours.
Francisco
Okay, yeah,
Ramos.
he actually was in the review with us.
Yeah.
He actually did the
He
review.
plays the
I'm-
lead monkey.
I'm torn.
We were going to review that, and I was in Palm Springs with my friend. We were celebrating his birthday party, and Rio, and I fell asleep.
Am I watching it or?
While I was watching it because it was really late. We were in Palm Springs,
wow.
and we had already partied that hard that first night. I fell asleep, so I can't.
That's
I
why
can't
people
review
like
it.
our reviews, because we're real people. Like, we'll try to watch the movie. Maybe we get drunk and fall asleep. Maybe we have a big rec league basketball game. It doesn't matter.
Sure, yeah, Ellis
we
missed
have
the
real
X-Men
life.
screening because it was basketball game. All right, I'm
Are we
torn.
going to be the number 1 seed in the playoffs? We have a shot.
I don't care.
Wow, that's your teammate doesn't care.
All right,
No, he doesn't
I don't
play
play
on
on
the
that
team.
team.
Okay, there you
All right,
go.
I have 2.
Last athletic thing Harloff did was run a boxing ring at Florida State.
Yeah, it's true. All right,
was
I have
popular.
2 things that I have battling for my favorite animation movie. Now it'd be Rango
Yeah.
and Kung Fu Panda 2.
Kung Fu Panda 2 gave Rango a really good run for its money. Rango was so kind
Original.
of different
Yeah.
that I got to give it to Rango, but I really had fun at Kung Fu Panda.
I have
Kung
not
Fu?
seen.
Kung Fu.
I have not seen
what
Kung
I'm
Pao
having for
Chicken
dinner
yet,
tonight.
but I will. I'm supposed to see Kung Fu Panda today, actually. But I like the first one, and I loved Rango.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
so
I love
cool.
the
It was
shit
so
out of
it was so cool, and it was dark. Like,
yes,
it
that
was
was.
dark.
It's like
Yeah.
it is. Old fairy tales, right? Like Cinderella. They used to cut. Like, there's a scene where they in the original where they cut off the feet of the wicked stepsister so they could fit into the glass slipper. Wow. And kids went for that. And then Disney came along and it's like, oh no, we should love each other and never
Right.
cut off a foot.
And sing.
Exactly. Like, there's no singing the
Right.
grim, brothers fairy tale. People like die and like
Right.
get
Yeah,
gout
yeah.
and just have to cut off appendages.
It was a really good villain too. Like actually, the one good Disney villain that you'll see is Uncle Scar from The
Yeah.
Lion King. This snake in Rango
It's the
was
best.
just
He was
epic.
great. Yeah, he was great, and I liked and nothing was like predictable. That's what I liked about it.
I love. Yeah, they're gonna kill. Things are going to die.
Yes.
Things are ugly. Like the characters are ugly.
Yep.
They don't have to be pretty. Things are going to die. It's an existential children's film. Like,
Right.
I love that.
The way the movie
Me too.
started off, the first 5 minutes of that movie, I'm like, what the hell are we in
Yeah,
for?
well, that
This
was-
movie is not hitting me like I thought it would.
Had you
and
not-
then you just get into that story,
Yeah.
and it
It
just
takes you
off.
away, and had you not, if I didn't know that Gore Verbinski directed it, I would have, and the fact that Johnny Depp was in it, I would have thought Tim Burton was involved for sure.
Yeah.
For the parts of it, the way that they looked, but the difference is, I think, with Verbinski style is that scene when they're in the canyon and he's flying over. That was an action scene.
It was an absolute. There was like, and you even bring in like, World War II biplane.
Oh, it's awesome.
Sound effects.
It was so awesome.
They're shooting machine guns.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing.
It's really a great. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I'd say it's in the top 5 so far of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah.
Well, it may get bounced because this, now you're in love with X-Men.
Well,
to
that's
the point
the-
where it's an
an obsession.
X-Men First Class is your favorite movie of the year so far.
It is,
Right.
and that's what we're going to talk about next. I think was so far favorite movies of the year so far, and I would definitely say that X-Men First Class is my favorite movie of the year so far, and then a close second is Source Code.
The cave diving in Sanctum was really good.
Yeah,
Oh, that's Sanctum. I'm like, what is Sanctum? They're talking about Sanctum. That was the one that they made. That what's his name made?
Cameron
produced it.
James Cameron
no, wait,
didn't
hold on,
produce
sorry.
it.
James-
He
let them
lent
borrow
them. He
their
lent them
cameras.
his cameras.
Is that really what it was?
More,
Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
dude. You haven't seen it.
Shameless marketing ploy.
Oh, dude, have you not seen Sanctum?
I have not seen
You
Sanctum.
have to see it just to review it because you will have endless amounts of material. It
Uh,
is so bad.
It's like they had a middle school acting class
Oh,
inside of a cave.
God,
it
it's
makes you
awful.
appreciate how good Avatar is a little bit more because it's like, oh, you have all these fancy, angles and technology, but the acting in Avatar is so much better compared to, this acting.
Avatar. I mean, yeah, dude. It's hard. It is horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, when you know a movie is really bad is when you get angry at everything.
Oh man, that's like the beaver for me.
Oh, really?
I was just like, focus on the damn beaver. You're not like, oh, there's
Was
so
it terrible?
many.
I didn't see it.
There's actually points in the beaver where the camera loses focus.
Really?
Like it
Jodie
loses
Foster.
Come on,
focus.
Jodie.
Jodie Foster was staring at Jennifer Lawrence.
It's just a mistake. She and
How is she in that, by the way? Because that's transitioning into X-Men, and I'm a huge Hunger Games fan. So
yeah, you read. I read a Hunger Game and a half.
I read all 3 like in 2 weeks.
Oh
I was
gosh,
obsessed.
we're 14-year-old girls.
Yeah.
and I'm not ashamed.
It's
of
no.
that.
That's the thing, though. It is not a girl. That is not a teen like Twilight. The only reason that I will have a 2-hour podcast on
The
Hunger Games right now.
preteen doth protest too much, methinks.
Yeah, that's right. I'm telling you, there's no
Borrowing from last week's podcast, Cheese, when you get a beer or something?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just anyway. That's a whole thing. But going back to the beaver thing.
There's a certain emptiness to Jennifer Lawrence that's sad, but is necessary for what's her name, Katniss in the Hunger Games with this girl who doesn't know who she is. So I think it's gonna read just fine.
Good.
When are these movies supposed to be out? How much
March.
longer do I have to listen
March.
to you talk about
March.
Hunger Games? All right.
Comes out in March. They're shooting right now.
And she looks good in
Yeah,
the
it's-
pictures
it's
that they
perfect,
had in
yeah.
Entertainment Weekly.
And she's 20, right? That's
Yeah,
not
it's
pretty
not.
fine.
It's not your creepy Hermione
Yeah,
obsession.
it's not a Mark
Yeah,
Ellis
right.
watching the third Harry Potter movie
Been
and starting
obsessed
to.
since part 1. It's
Part
really
one,
weird.
you're just like,
Chris
I hate to
Hansen.
say this, but she's gonna be
I was
good.
prognosticating.
Yeah.
It's like you're allowed to scout nine-year-olds to see if they're going to be good at basketball.
Christian, give me a calendar. So yeah, all right.
So best favorite movie of the year.
My favorite movie of the year so far, like I said, is X-Men First Class, and then followed by Source Code.
Okay.
Brett.
I guess X-Men's just fresh in my mind. But yeah, I guess that's really, I'm looking through the list of what we have that came out this year.
Did you see Drive Anger? I just want to make sure that
I've not seen
Okay,
Drive
just
Angry. I was really happy that didn't make any money. But I guess that's really the only one that comes to mind. I really enjoyed it. It's like finding out that your grandparents were freaking awesome when they
Right.
were your age.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, like, and I have not like poured over X-Men comic books, but like I, have a base knowledge of it, and just watching, like, I know how it's going to end up and how are they going to get there is fantastic. Michael Fassbender is amazing.
It's his movie.
He knocked that
It's
so
his
far out of
movie.
the park.
We had a whole podcast about it last week, and
He made me like Jane Eyre.
oh, was he in Jane Eyre?
Yeah,
I didn't
he
see
plays
Jane Eyre.
Mr.
Okay.
guy who
I heard
she
that
wants.
was all right though.
I loved that.
Okay.
I actually really like Jane Eyre.
You are a teenage girl.
I am.
All right. No, but I actually do want to see Jane Eyre. My wife's going to make me see it when it comes out, so that's good to know that I won't be bored out of my skull. Well, and would you put Rango close?
Rango's close. Rango I really enjoyed. That was really enjoyable. So I enjoyed it.
And
Yeah,
Mr.
and-
Marcellus Ellis, what do you got?
I'm gonna have to go. Tree of Life was my favorite odd poem of the year. No, it wasn't my favorite movie by any because it wasn't really a movie. I would probably have to go with Rango.
Over Thor?
I really enjoyed movies that I've really enjoyed include the latest X-Men, Thor. I'm the only guy that likes Sucker Punch, but I really, really like Sucker Punch, and I might have to say Rango is still up there though.
I'm just going through. Chime in whenever you guys want. How much we got left, Chiefs? What we got?
We're at 48.
All right, great. I'm going to throw in some movies that we're sure we've all seen. I thought Scream 4 was a shit bomb. Everybody else?
That's you talk about worst movies of the year.
It's one of the worst.
That would be up there.
How did you feel about that?
I did not see Scream 4.
You
Don't
are a
be
lucky
mad.
man. I'm jealous
be
of
mad.
you. We talked about Rio.
Arthur.
See, I think we saw Scream with Arthur actually the
Yeah.
same thing. I
You
didn't.
guys go to the movies a lot. This
Yeah.
is a nice budding friendship.
This was the way to tell you that you're being replaced.
No.
At least you picked a movie like Arthur. At least you
Yeah.
still let me see, Thor.
But that was the thing though with Arthur. I think that we were both. I mean, I don't know how you felt about it, but I was expecting to destroy that movie as well, and I didn't hate that movie. I
didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it had heart to it, and I was surprised.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the original Arthur in, I guess, like 10 years. So it wasn't fresh. I knew a lot of people who went and saw the original and then went right out to see this remake. And it's like, I don't think that's fair.
No.
That's just not fair. So
different movie.
if you don't, and I've only seen it maybe once, but to look at, I'm sure comparing them side to side, like Dudley Moore, like that was a character that he created in his stand-up for years.
Right.
And then made a movie out of it. So he's just going to be better at it. But, Russell Brand, I thought, he had that and Hop in the same weekend or within a week of each other.
Right,
And, like,
too.
this was a movie where I was afraid from the trailers he wasn't going to be a drunk even.
Yeah, we talked about right before, and we're like, we're both like, this sucks. He didn't have a drink, and there was some rumor coming out that he wasn't even having a single drink. The guy is drunk every scene in the movie.
Good. That is Arthur.
Yeah. But I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
It's not a groundbreaking film. I thought the girl in it wasn't that good.
No, she was all right, but I mean, but
boring.
again, the movie
She's boring, yeah.
it's not atrocious, and that is good as you're expecting it to be. African Cats, of course, we love that
African
one.
Cats. It was one of my favorite movies of the year, but again, it's like Tree of Life almost, where I can't really compare it to anything else
Right.
that's come out. African Cats had a little bit too much lion scrotum in it for me.
No.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's the Discovery Channel.
The Lion Scrotum channel.
Did we talked about
Like
Thor?
they have Discovery Health, and now it's like Discovery Lion Scrotum.
We give lions prostate exams.
the new brand new show from Discovery.
And
Lion
it's just
Scrotum.
that, and then a scene from The Lion King.
That's it. Thor, we kind of we talked about. I really liked Thor. My problem with Thor was that the humor to me was a little over the top.
I
didn't like it.
thought
know.
the humor hit, man. I really like the humor in
And
Thor.
Brett, you were
I hate when there's someone like Natalie Portman who plays like a scientist, but you're Natalie Portman, and then she's like, I can't get boys. It's like, screw you, you're a liar.
Right.
You can get any boy you want.
or make her look frumpy like she can't.
Yeah,
Right.
and then but I thought that was a beautiful movie. I loved one of my favorite video games is like God of War.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And it's just like this was like God of War. I get to watch it. I've always wanted to convert to Greek mythology because the gods are just so much cooler.
What happened to them? Where'd they all go?
And that play Asgard looked. I mean, if
Asgard.
I could be the member of a gym on Asgard, just have that view every time I work out. I would be as big as Thor. I'd want to go to the gym.
Asgard definitely, and we were worried about it at first. Asgard is definitely the coolest part of the whole movie. I mean,
Yeah.
it is.
I don't know. That ice world is
Well,
awesome.
but I
man.
mean the other worlds are as opposed
Like the
to
non-Earth.
Well, yeah, but Earth, it's not the best sampling of Earth. They don't exactly go to Vegas. They go to some random town in New Mexico.
I just thought we were gonna.
go visit your friend in
Yeah.
New York, and he's like, "Well, I live just outside of Queens. We're gonna go have some Italian food."
I just thought we were gonna tread on Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe waters at some point, but we didn't, so that was fine. We spoke about Bridesmaids. Oh God, this movie that you were in, Something Borrowed.
God, stop living my life.
You
John
know what?
Krasinski.
Brett was the only good thing about that movie.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you.
No, that movie.
It's
did you see
factually
that
inaccurate,
thing?
but thank you. No, I haven't yet.
Oof.
My mom's friends are like, I can't believe your son's in a movie.
Do not see that movie because you will disappoint your
Has
mom's
he
friends.
done well in a movie? Have I done well? Sorry.
He was
As
really
far as
good in Something
performance?
Borrowed, man.
Yes.
He was
Really?
the only good thing about it, but he
he's been
was
good and stuff.
I didn't hate Something Borrowed, but he was the best thing about Something Borrowed.
Egglesmine was
the
terrible.
movie Leatherheads he was in, which I thought was just a total misfire.
I saw that on a
But
plane.
he was also in that movie with Steve Martin and
Yes, and Alec Baldwin.
Oh yeah,
So that's
it's like
what
his
I'm saying.
character like divulges some some cheating wives and husbands in every movie.
Yeah.
It's like he's always in on everything,
Yeah,
but can't
yeah.
tell everybody.
Right. Yeah.
He's totally the guy that you're like. If you're a girl, your mom wants you to like end up with. He
Yeah.
just does that well.
But he's also that guy that all the girls say, like, I can confide in this guy
Yes.
because I trust him with my secrets. He'll never go bad on
But
me.
you know why? It's just because he hooked up with the average girl in the office.
that's it. That is
that's
a great point.
That's what it is.
exactly it. Like,
That's right. Look at us. We're just spitting nonsense for 50 minutes, and then She's comes in with
Nailed
the...
it.
Well, see, I can't get out and see every goddamn. What about Country Strong? Did you guys see that?
I saw parts of
I had to
Country
watch that
I
with
didn't
my
s-
girl last week.
I didn't see Country Strong.
It's like if you're so strong, why'd you kill yourself at the end of the movie?
Wow,
Spoiler
spoiler alert. My
Not to give
goodness.
it away.
Spoiler alert,
Killing
but
it.
it's-
Nobody saw that movie. It doesn't matter.
no one needs to see that movie. I'll say
No,
that. with
no, they
honor,
don't.
sir.
No, they don't.
Priest is a pile of garbage.
I didn't hate Priest.
You should have hated
I
Priest.
had fun
Oh, I
watching
hated
I hated
Priest.
Priest. It was
All,
terrible.
all I
It
can
was
take
terrible.
away, just look at a picture of those the vampires, and that's all you need.
We
to
said
see.
it was CGI blob with teeth. That's all.
I thought they were cool, but this is a problem with it. You have in Priest they have like these motorcycles, right? That go 200 miles an hour.
They go fast.
They have, first of all, Ellen Fox points out, like, how do you recharge that in your world that has nothing? And secondly, but you have these really fast motorcycles, yet you know where the vampires live. They live in these hives. You have a motorcycle that goes 250 miles an hour, but you don't have a bomb that will blow up this hive.
Right.
That's it. It's just fair. It was so
there's
selective.
There's
It's
so
like-
much stuff you can say.
I
I'd like to ask, how come you didn't come up with that point, Ellen Fox?
Dude, I'm just here to be hot. All right, Ellen actually has good things to say and is good looking. I'm just the
enough.
looks of this show.
All right, well, we're running out of time. Let's go through a couple more.
Why don't we
Pirates.
just
Let's
talk
talk
about
Pirates.
what we're looking for? Is there anything else?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I had fun.
I had fun with it. I was no, excuse me, I didn't have fun. I was bored out of my mind, but I liked it better than 2 and 3.
Yeah, it lacks that certain like epic feel that you had in 2 and 3, but that's kind of a good thing. There was like an Ask a Ninja. Did you ever see the Ask a Ninja where he's like, there's like a barnacle on the bottom of the ship. You get a plot line, and like everything gets a plot line. I thought that was really funny. I thought that was
One of the movies
apt.
that we were surprised about. One of the movies that we were surprised about this year also was Beginners.
Beginners
really
is
good
I
movie.
didn't
great.
see that.
Great movie.
Actually, Beginners may be better than Rank. That may be. It's up there with
It's a
Ranko.
great movie.
It's
God, because I've seen that trailer for a while.
Yeah, it's a really, really good movie, and it's one of the first. It's like the only Oscar contender I think so far as performances. Yeah.
Yeah.
That and Tree of Life may have
that one I
yeah.
didn't see. Kung Fu Panda we talked about. Hangover 2 we talked about.
Can I ask you, Brett? Did you see Tree of Life?
No, not yet.
I want to talk to somebody that's seen
All
this
right.
damn
Well,
movie because
I'll
I have
see
no
some-
idea
but
what
those-
just happened to me in the theater.
Really?
I don't know. I did a solo review on our website, and it's just such a hard movie to review. I think I liked it, but it's
I'm gonna go
Right.
check it out, and I'll see it pretty soon. But those are the movies so far this year. And before we get out of here, I want to just touch up maybe on a couple movies that we're all excited to see before the summer's over. For me, the movies that I really want to see, I want to see how they're going to close out Harry Potter. I think that we're finally going to get that big battle. They've been giving us the previews to the fight. Let's get to the fight.
Yeah. I want to see Super 8.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it's going to be like. I hope it
love
doesn't
that.
suck.
Yeah, Super 8. I
really
was so
will.
happy when I saw X-Men at midnight. I was so happy there was not a Super 8 trailer because I've seen very limited clips of it, and that's the way I'm going to see it on Tuesday, and that's the way that I want to go into it. And
Yeah.
I'm seeing it at a very small theater with. I'm seeing it on the Paramount lot, right? So it's just gonna be. It's not gonna be like where they let fans in at the end to fill in seats. This is just gonna be like that. Nobody's gonna ruin this movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
I hope. I hope that heavy breathing guy from Jack in the Box does not come in and sit behind.
Or your boss. Jesus,
Or
that
my
guy
boss.
sound awful.
And a trailer that just came out yesterday, which I am so surprised.
Expendables 2.
No. Return. What is it? The Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I
The
saw that
new
yesterday
trailer
too.
looks
I saw it
awesome.
on your Facebook when you sent me a message.
It looks awesome.
Oh man, it was so good.
It looks. I'm not getting overly excited, but
I'm excited.
it looks cool. Like
After I watched the Tim Burton one, and it's just
Oh yeah, I mean that ending of the Tim Burton. There were parts of the Tim Burton one I'm like this could be kind of cool because it's kind of scary, and then it's just a disaster. But This has nothing to do with Tim Burton's version. It's all about the Charlton Heston one, and it just ties into that. And the
Can
only
Jimmy Franco pull off a scientist?
we'll see.
Here's the thing: there's a certain overlap between Franco and Wahlberg in like what he does to you when you watch a movie, where you're just like, oh God. There's a certain possibility that you're making fun of everything in this film,
Right.
You know, like
Yeah,
Franco,
right.
he now has like after the Oscars, it's just like this weird like
yeah. But-
postmodern, like oh God, just be an actor.
Well, and I agree with you 100%. The only thing that kind of throws me off with him is that when you want to hate him as just he's just a stoner who doesn't give a shit. He pulls out a performance like Milk or like 127 hours. You're like, this guy's got chops.
That's right.
But
27 hours, yeah.
But the only thing that he the only thing that he does in this trailer that it makes me cringe is when they go, we call it The Cure. It's like I was like, that's brilliant.
That's like classic, like '80s huge
Oh, it's
action
terrible.
movie. You know,
He like announces
we're gonna make a
that like
trailer, and we got to show the audience just how epic the scope is. Call it The Cure.
he announces it like it's this genius thing he came up with. We call it The Cure.
If you watch the trailer, there's very clever editing in that because as soon as he says The Cure, they show Doctor Scurrying so that the audience that we're watching it, we forget what just hit our ears, and we're like, oh well, there's real doctors that are interested in it, so I guess we won't make fun of it that much.
Well, that's been our movie kind of preview as far as what the hell came out that we liked. Maybe when
That's been
Netflix.
our 2011
So
recap.
far.
That's a
and-
halfway point.
I know, and we were very happy to have Brett with us. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Thanks for having me. That's awesome.
Maybe you can come back on for second half, and we'll kind of talk about the other stuff, and we'll do some Oscar stuff too.
Nice,
And
yeah.
it'd be cool. I'd love to have Brett back. Make sure you check out Brett at Rotten Tomatoes, Infomania. Check him out, and I'll put the link on the both Podbean.
Got a Twitter?
Got
Yeah.
a Twitter, twitter.com/Brett Erlich.
Yes, and,
BRETTERLICH.
and you have a fan page as well, don't you?
Yeah, on Facebook, I got one of them.
All right, so check him out on Facebook. Everything else, too, guys.
And I'm glad Christian and Brett are friends. This
Yeah.
is nice to see.
It worked out. It's nice. Stop stealing my characters. All right, guys. It's been a pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace
Great.
out.